Now that we built a collection and added our items, it's time to take the next step, turning that content into actual pages on our site. In this lesson, we're going to walk through how to use the items in a collection to generate dynamic pages automatically, and how to design a simple layout that updates based on the content inside each item. By the end, you'll know how to create fully dynamic CMS pages that look great and scale effortlessly. In Framer, CMS detail pages combine a single reusable layout with the content of a CMS collection, automatically generating individual pages for each item, populated with the right content. In other words, you design one flexible template and Framer uses it to generate a separate page for every item in the collection, each one automatically pulling in the unique content from the CMS. You're not going to be building a dozen static pages, just one layout that adapts. It's also worth noting that CMS detail pages are entirely optional and only generated if we add them to our site, which we'll go over in just a bit. Now let's take a look at the items in my articles collection alongside its detail page. You'll see that the content from my selection colors item is being displayed automatically on the page. At the top, there's a drop-down menu. Clicking this reveals all the other items in the collection, each listed by their unique slug. This is where the slug field comes into play. As I mentioned in the last lesson, Framer automatically assigns a slug to every item in a collection. That slug becomes part of the URL and allows Framer to dynamically route each CMS page to the correct content. So whenever you add a new item, it instantly gets its own page. No extra setup needed. It's a powerful way to scale your site without having to manually build every page yourself. Now that we've covered how CMS pages are generated, let's walk through how to add one to your site. To do that, we'll head to the canvas of the project and click on the Pages tab in the left panel. Then click the plus icon to add a new page. From the options that appear, select New CMS Page. Next, we want to choose the collection we want the page to pull from. I'll choose my articles collection, and then you'll be asked to pick between an index page or a detail page. An index page displays a list of items from your collection, like blog post previews or product cards, while a detail page is where you design the layout for a single item. So in this case, we're going to select Detail Page, which creates a dynamic page layout that updates automatically based on the content in each item. And just like that, the fields from my collection are populated onto the new Detail Page. You'll also see the new page appear in the Pages panel, just like any other page in the project. What's important to note here is that this is the single layout that we'll design and edit that Framer will use to generate separate pages for each item in our collection. At first glance, it might seem like some of the text fields didn't come through, but if I check the Layers panel, I can see that they're all there. The issue here is that the text defaults to black, so since my background is black, I'll need to update the text color to make it all readable. Now that all of our fields are populated on the detail page, we can start styling it just like any other page on our site. If we take a look at the Layers panel, you'll see that Framer has automatically used the content from our fields to create stacks and frames, giving us a solid starting point to design the layout. But what if we want to add a new field to our item and have it appear on the page? For example, maybe we want to include a button that links to an external website or a sign-up form. To do that, we'll first need to go back to the CMS collection and add a new field. So I'll click Edit Fields, and for this example, I'll add a link field to support our new button. Once that's in place, I'll select an item from the collection and populate the new link field with a URL. With that set, we can head back to the canvas and add it to the page. But before we do that, I'd like to point out something in the Insert panel. By navigating to the CMS section of the Insert panel, you'll notice a Fields category. This lets us quickly grab text or image fields for our canvas, but for our new link field, we'll have to connect it to the link property of an existing layer using variables. Variables are what connect elements on the canvas to the content stored in your CMS. Think of them as smart placeholders. they automatically pull in the correct text, images, or data based on the item being viewed. When you drag a field from the insert panel, Framer sets this up for you behind the scenes. But it's helpful to understand how variables work because you can also add and customize them manually to create even more flexible designs. We can add a variable to almost any property in the Properties panel by clicking the plus sign and selecting Set Variable. In this case, I'm creating a simple button for my new link field, so I'll create a new text layer, go to the link property, click the plus icon next to link to, choose Set Variable, and then select Link. Just like that, the text layer is now dynamically populated with data from my items field. It's really that simple to bring content from your CMS into your CMS pages, whether you're dragging it in from the insert panel or manually connecting it with variables. Just keep in mind that any changes you make to this CMS page, like fonts, spacing, or layout, will automatically apply to every other item in the collection, since they all share the same template. That also includes non-CMS items, so if you add something like a background shape, a button, or even a decorative graphic to this page, it'll appear on every CMS page using this template. For example, if I use the drop-down at the top to switch to another CMS item, you'll see that the banner image, date, and any other design changes I've made are exactly the same as the previous page. Only the content changes. Everything else stays consistent. Before we wrap up, it's worth mentioning conditional visibility, a powerful feature that lets you show or hide elements based on your CMS content. This is especially helpful when you have optional fields like the button I just added that shouldn't appear unless there's actual data to support them. For instance, if the link field doesn't contain a URL in one of our items, we don't want to display a button that leads to nowhere. So to handle this, we can set a variable on the visible property in the styles panel by choosing the link field and setting the variable to isSet. That tells Framer we only want to show the button if that field actually has content. If not, the button stays hidden and the layout automatically adjusts, keeping your design clean. This technique works for any element on your CMS page, and it's a great way to keep your designs flexible. It even allows CMS pages to adapt their look and feel based on the content available, making each page feel more intentional. We'll dive deeper into this in a more advanced lesson in the future. So now you've seen how CMS pages work and how powerful they are when it comes to scaling your content. To recap, CMS detail pages use a single layout to automatically generate unique pages for each item in your collection. Best of all, you design it once, Framer handles the rest. In the next lesson, we'll be exploring collection lists, where you can display multiple CMS items on any page of your site. See you there.